we are called to love like Jesus. So if Jesus calls us his friends and he brings us into his family, what does it mean for how we treat each other? It means we are called to love one another like Jesus loved us. Not just that Jesus loved us. Jesus said in these two passages, one, again, if we rewound to John 13, we would see in verse 34, he says this, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another." How? "Just as I have loved you, you also are to love one another." We see it also in the passage we just read in John 15 and 12. "This is my commandment, that you love one another." How? "As I have loved you." See, the precedent for our love for one another is that Jesus loved us and the way he loved us. We're not to love each other by the world's definitions. And the world's love can be shallow. It can be self-interested. It can be convenient. It can be comfortable. It can be based off of what we get out of it. And I think we could all argue that all those parameters that I just said are actually really not love, if it's self-interested. Jesus doesn't just say, love one another. He says, "As I have loved you." And then if it's still unclear what that means, he defines it. He says in verse 13, "Greater love has no one than this, that someone lay down his life for his friends." This is right after he says, "I've called you friends." See, Jesus says this is what love looks like. It looks like laying your life down for your friends. Now imagine the next day, fast forward hours from this conversation, where these disciples whom Jesus just called friends, they see him betrayed, they see him arrested, they see him beaten, they see him flogged, they see him whipped, they see him judged unjustly, they see him receive a crown of thorns, they see his flesh torn from his body. They see him drag across, up a road, up a hill. They see him take nails in his hands and in his feet. They see him hang up on a cross. The day after he says, "No greater love has anyone than this, than that they lay down their life for their friends." And you're sitting there beneath the cross, and you're looking at Jesus on it, and you're remembering just hours before he called you friend, and he said, "No greater love has anyone than when they lay down their life for their friends." And this is now where he says, "As I have loved you, love one another." It's not a love based on feelings. We saw after this conversation and before betrayal, Jesus is in the Garden of Gethsemane, and we see his feelings, where he's vexed over what he's about to go do, what he's about to go through. And he's sweating blood because of the anxiety and grief of what he's about to face. And his feelings say, "Father, I don't want to do this." But Jesus' love doesn't stop at feelings. It goes beyond them to sacrifice. This is what love is. It's not convenient. It's not comfortable. It is costly. I would argue this, that if it doesn't cost you, it's not love. If it doesn't cost you, it's not love. We live in a world where love is usually about what you get from somebody. Well, they do this for me, they make me feel this way, and I love them. And of course, we do see in Scripture, we love because he first loved us. But then we take that same love where we love people before they love us, and we give it to them. People love as long as it's easy. People love as long as the person makes them feel good or special. People love as long as there's no real sacrifice involved. Jesus flips all of that on its head. And to the people who are crucifying him, he says, "Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing." If it doesn't cost you, it's not love. Jesus says, "No, you're not going to follow me and you're not going to be a part of my family if you're going to love the way the world loves. This is how you love like I love, that you lay down your life for each other." See, if it doesn't cost you, it's not love. And then I would flip that and go, because we could be sitting here going, Oh, great, here we go again with another preacher telling us one more time how we have to sacrifice, and how we have to give, and how we have to serve, and how we have to do all this, and it's just more burden on the back. But that's not love. Because the reality is that love pays the price with joy. Why? Because it's love. Love pays the price, but joyfully. We see this in a verse I've quoted plenty of times, Hebrews 12:2, where it says, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross. Why did Jesus go through with the cross? Was it because the Father told him to? Well, yes. But he didn't go through it going, oh, Dad, I guess I got to do this. It says, because of the joy set before him, he endured the cross. See, there absolutely is a price to pay. Jesus goes to the cross with the highest bill ever paid in history. The wages of sin being death, your sin and my sin. But he goes to the cross with joy, knowing that he's reconciling you and me to the Father.